have the client seated on the bench with their knees bent at about 90 degrees. At this point here we want to assess where their knees are in relation to the hips. So we want the knees to be either in line or slightly above the hips. If they're below the hips, then we're going to fall into an anterior pelvic tilt. Alright, so we're going to be tilting that way, and that's going to increase our lumbar curve, putting us into lordosis, which is not going to be an ideal position to be performing the movement from. Okay, so we want to keep relatively neutral, unless you're a powerlifter and you're looking for that massive lumbar curve to put you in a biomechanically stronger position to get more weight up. It's going to activate more peak major, but we just want to be doing it with a nice neutral spine. Okay, so if we have a look here, so come around to the side, so you can get a side view, come around to the side, that side, you can get a side view here, you can see that your knees are bent at about 90 degrees. They're about the same level as your hips, so that's probably going to be a good nice position there. If you get somebody whose feet were lower, whose knees were lower than their hips, like someone with short legs, then you might get maybe a piece of wood or a couple of plates or something stable that they can put their feet onto so that you can get their knees up, so that they're in that level plane, and so we're not affecting their lumbar curve too much. Okay, so we start affecting that lumbar curve, it's going to start affecting the thoracic curve and everything that comes from it. Right, so primarily this movement, this pressing movement, is going to be for your pec major and triceps. Right, so those pushing muscles. Alright, so we'll get to my back. Next thing we're going to check is making sure she's got a nice neutral curve there, which looks all good. Next thing we're going to check is the bar height. Alright, so what I'll get Emma to do is extend your arms towards the roof. And what we're looking for here is we want the bar to be roughly at about where your wrists are. So that's probably a little bit too low. We can adjust that if we want to. So depending on the bench, we'll determine the increments of height adjustment. So I think this one moves up in quite large increments. It's a little bit older. We have some benches that have smaller increments. Right, so we're just going to leave that for now. It's not too far off. So you just extend your arms there. So your wrists are about here. It's not too far off. So we probably could go up maybe one there, but because we're not going to be loaded, just use it up. Sweet. So we'll tell where we want the bar to be. Next thing is where we're going to position the hands. So it's probably the most important part of where you're putting your hands on the bar is making sure that you're evenly spaced either side from the middle of the bar. Right, so if Emma just puts her hands on the bar there, just grip the bar there for me. If she's not evenly spaced, i.e. one hand's closer to the center than the other hand, as soon as we start loading that up, bang, she's going to tip. Alright, so really important, especially when we're working with loads, that we check and we just eyeball this, the hands are symmetrically spaced from the center of the bar. Right? Another thing we can check is grip. So some people like to go into a death grip, which is when your thumbs aren't hooked. So if you bring your thumb to this side of the bar, that side of the bar. Some people will just have the bar resting on their palm, or their thumb not hooked around the bar. A lot of powerlifters use that. It's called a death grip, and the reason it's called death grip is because there's nothing stopping the bar slipping off your palm. Right? So it can put you in a biomechanically advantageous position to get more weight, but it's a lot more unsafe, so only really experienced lifters should be using it. If you've got someone that's never done bench press before, we always get them to grip their thumbs under, okay, so that's going to be the safest option for us. So next thing we want to check is how far apart our hands should be spaced. So basically, as a general rule of thumb, the width of hand spacing is determined by the bottom position, so you want to be about a nice 90 degree angle at the bottom there. So if you just bend your elbows to 90 degrees, look out the bar there, and then you want to probably take your hand straight up from there, that's where you're probably going to go to the bar. In the bottom position, you want the forearms to be vertical. If the hands are too close, they're not going to be vertical. Your elbows are going to be dropping out and you're going to put a lot of stress on your elbows. Right, so you want your wrists to be pretty much over your elbows the whole time throughout the pressing Alright, so I'll get Emma to take the bar up here, put a couple of reps for me. So this is our starting point here. Now what we want to observe, probably more so through the frontal plane, is that as the bar comes down, it should be arcing slightly towards her sternum. Okay, so the lower part of her sternum there. So if you come around to the side there, yep, just do a couple there. So we should see the bar arcing towards her sternum and then finishing directly in front of her shoulders. Alright, so it's going to be a slight arc there. Sweet. Stop that now. So the reason